Yeah, and now Infinity. How much save do you want to draft here for Leo style? Do you think he's going to be safe on his own? There's a lot of magic damage that Thunder Awaken have to put out onto him, and we'll have to see.
Okay.
That is a little bit quieter of a pick, and that is just going to be what very likely could be Dodd's Doom, because it's just right in line with what he played back on Ravens, even though they do keep us guessing here a little bit. It could be Oscar's hero, even though the Doom tiny lane doesn't sound very good, and they'll keep that flexibility into Thunder Awaken's picks, but no save directly at the very least from the last track. I do like the Doom versus Kunkka, of course. Very high HP strength hero that's just going to get burned down by Infernal Blade. Very easy to get on top of him, and just a nice hero with the BKB timing. Just fits the bill.
And yeah, even if your Doom... Okay. As the Pango gets picked up, even if your Doom doesn't kill the Kunkka, you take away so much, right? Without spells, Kunkka really doesn't do anything. He's not a right-click hero. He's durable, but he's not unkillable, so... I think the last time we saw this matchup in particular, when the Kunkka got hit by that Doom ET, he really actually just had to run, wait for the Doom to wear off, and then see if his teammates were still alive after the fact, which, if they are, great. If they're not, then your Kunkka didn't get to play any Dota.
Yeah, it can be a really bad situation. It can really not be fun, as well as, well, with the Pango pickup, you switch that Snapfire out. I don't think this is a situation in which case uh, you'd want Michael on the 4 Pango and Illich still on the Snapfire, even though I guess they still have that allowed to them, but just feels a little bit too weird. But it is not a very strong lane. It is not in line with the way that Thunder Awaken have picked their heroes so far in the tournament either. It is kind of a gamble pick. And you're playing versus a Jakiro, a 5 that has a lot of magic damage early on. There's a really good trader. It makes Infinity's lanes feel really solid. And if it is just Doom carry, that is so much magic damage early on. I don't know. It kind of feels like Thunder Awaken are drafting 4 of those weaker lanes. Love Pango versus Leshrac. Leshrac can't do anything. He's just another hero to get bopped around by the Rolling Thunder.
Mm-hmm.
But aside from that, the value just kind of isn't there for me. And I feel like he really could easily get shut out.
We'll have to see what their plan is, because, I mean, they could try to force Michael to play for Pango, but as you said, it doesn't really seem like a great idea. But maybe there's a carry pick here that kind of ties all of this together. Infinity, they ban out the Wraith King, they ban out the Drow Ranger. Very different ideas with those two bans, right? One hero that doesn't care about the Doom because he's coming back, and another hero that doesn't care because he just right-clicks every single person in sight. But in terms of the final selection, Infinity do go for the Timbersaw, so Thunder Awaken had been banning like this Doom was going to the offlane, so Infinity just decide to flip that around, and now you've got Timbersaw against some strength heroes who will not appreciate that matchup.
Yeah, Thunder Awaken have some choices here, and I love the Timbersaw pick because it's a forcing move on a few different fronts here. Because of course, Knight's Monkey King is still in the pool. Will Knight want to play Monkey King into Timbersaw, a lane that historically is good for the Monkey King early on, but then gets booted out all the same, like every hero versus Timbersaw. It's where the Ursa is also still kicking around in the pool. Those are certainly options that they could go for, but Infinity just have a real tough lineup to crack here. Of course, not the fastest lineup when it comes to some of those objectives, and yeah, they decided to go for Ursa. Just makes sense. A little bit better versus the Timbersaw, but they're just a ball of team fight. And Ursa, if there's one thing he hates, it's switching targets. It's having 3 people blinking on top of him, having everybody to hit. It's where he really doesn't like that spread out damage. He likes to go on one target, kill him, next target. Kill him, next target. It's where Infinity just are going to have this fearsome timing where I don't know if Knight's going to be ready. And Knight as well is a Battle Fury Ursa. Never really goes for the Diffusal Blink Dagger build. Don't think he needs to force himself to, but it means that the rest of the lineup is going to have to buy him time. So Infinity really have a real strong wave here, and they've drafted to perfection. This is pretty much exactly what they did last night to a T.
They've got damage, they've got durability, they've got control, they can push, they can farm, they can really do everything that they're going to need to. So, well, I mean, you kind of get the feeling ET Infinity really would like to have one of those top 2 seeds. They're coming with some serious business in this draft, and Thunder Awaken, they've been very impressive so far here, ET, but this is one of the iffier drafts I think we've seen from them in Pro Series.
Yeah, it feels a little bit shaky. And of course, we'll have to see how they decide to play. And I'm still looking at that bottom lane. I think Prada and Dodd are going to have a little bit of a field day. Wouldn't be the
Mhm.
first time this matchup has actually happened either for Dodd. Lane versus Apenga last night, and it looked really rough for Drakeel. So I don't know. We'll have to see. Maybe they can get some hero plays going. But then when it comes down to those team fights, they need to jump over Infinity. And that's something that neither the Doom or the Timbersaw really help with. It doesn't help Leo style. There's no save in the lineup. If the lineup functions and that front line gets to be the front line, then it works. But if Thunderwave can get around you, if they get behind you, if they stab you in the back, that's how Thunder Awaken are going to want to take the majority of these team fights.
Ready to get things underway. Teams loading in, and, well, as we sort of reminded you at the start, we'll remind you again. These teams playing to claim that #1 seed. Infinity need the 2-0. Thunder Awaken only have to win one, right? If they get just one more point, they're locked up as the #1 seed. Neither Infinity nor 5-Rat will be able to catch them. So, in that regard, ET, maybe they felt a little more comfortable taking a risk with this draft. It's a little bit of a strange mindset to go with, but they have something to fall back on even if they do drop this game.
You definitely do. Nice
Village
smoke up, though.
Village popped. You see the pings coming out there because everyone else was still underneath the smoke, but not quite fast enough to spot the hero. Do they take a guess at the ward being up here, though? Because if there's a hero in that area, there's only a handful of things he could have been doing, but Excel's the one with the sentry. He doesn't want to deploy it, so the vision will remain for the time being.
The ward stays up. They all kind of navigate around. And Infinity kind of do what they have in the past, especially with the Doom. Keep him kind of far back. Don't want to eat too much damage, but Illich has been left alone here on the bounty. And Dodge just going to walk up on him. They know that he's kind of isolated and alone. Meanwhile, Oscar also doesn't get the bounty rune. So Thunderwave can get 3. Just a little bit of a misplacement of the heroes. Excel's going to get hit up by Genic a little bit, but aside from that, not a bad start.
3 runes going their way. May have to take care of this ward here. Is blocking up their small camp, but Excel, this is okay. Never mind. I was gonna say part of the reason why he held his sentry for so long, but gets into lane, throws it down. It's not gonna be able to get a D ward, but it takes out the other camp anyway. So nobody gets to pull in this lane.
Yeah. Unfortunate, but also just being very aware of how they might want to play this lane early on, but it doesn't work, so not a factor.
And, well, we'll see how this plays out, because this lane is very strange, right? Timbersaw with Tiny. How much is Genic really going to be able to accomplish here? Because Oscar, realistically speaking, would love to just sit here and farm for the most part, so not sure if you're going to really have too many opportunities to get all that aggressive, and even if you do get a toss back, Oscar not having any sort of follow-up lockdown makes the whole thing a little awkward.
Yeah, and this is a lane that, very similar vein to the Monkey King, does get blown wide open, but in the 1v1, a Knight, especially once he gets phase boots, can get some pretty nasty trades going against Oscar, where he just gets soul XP while Excel is off in the pulls, and then he walks over with 3 or 4 Fury swipe stacks on him, and Excel makes a kill happen. But right now, though, your cores are doing a pretty great job ignoring each other. Just a lot of creep pulling, a lot of last hitting, not too much denying, even though Knight's pulling ahead ever so slightly, but that's kind of been the theme of the tournament so far. Knight always has just been pulling ever so slightly ahead of his laning opponents. Just real solid stuff from the guy.
Very rarely do we see significant amounts of pressure be applied to him. So he's chilling, he's farming. On the other side of the map, Dodd very likely going to look to do the same, although you take a look at the early skill build for him, opted for the point in the Infernal Blade here as opposed to getting that Devour at level 1 or level 2, so it slows up his gold income just that little bit, but gives you a lot more to work with in terms of trading out damage effectively.
Yeah, and isn't the most effective versus Pango, just because he's, not the highest HP hero just yet, but it's efficient and it goes right alongside with Prada and how Jakiro likes to play early on. Definitely gives them a lot more kill threat, even though you might farm slightly slower, but you'll probably skill up the Devourer or might save a point depending on what creep actually spawns, and we'll see if he gets the Chain Lightning. Right now, Prada's pulling and stacking that small camp to see if he does get lucky. And let's see. And he gets Ghosts. Ghosts are not bad.
Okay.
Gives you that Frost attack, but it's certainly not the ideal.
Yeah, I guess with the point in Inferno Blade, you know, now you're a little bit more annoying, but this is the limits of what he can do. You get a slightly better little smack onto your Snapfire and walks away. But you know, it doesn't cost him any mana either. So if he does find the Chain Lightning later on, they didn't really have to spend anything to make that happen. So Core's farming, support's doing their best. Meanwhile, in the middle lane, Lalatroni and Leo style. Just doing a little bit of trading. X into Torrent combo connects, though, but... yeah. The Leshrac is not exactly a squishy hero here. 800 max HP, so X Torrent combo's great, but you would need somewhere in the realm of 2 to 4 full Tidebringers to actually chunk Leo style down. Uh-oh.
Look at this. Yeah.
Oh. Many right clicks will it take? Gets one last in there, but the Fairy Fire is there to save the day. So Lalatroni won't die, but yeah, now he's going to make this play. The X, the TP, refills his bottle while he's at it. Very minimal time lost in the lane, but definitely an advantage for Leo style.
And Leo style now in a race, but gets both water runes, gets a full reset, doesn't have to deal with his teammates. Just great stuff. The scariest ranked 200 player in the game. He is just fearsome in those first few levels. And that's how this lane has gone for every single Kunkka versus Leshrac we've seen. You just eat a little bit more harass. A lot of these Kunkkas as well have just been so confident in their ability to get to the double bracer bottle. No salves bot either or tangos. They really just gamble everything on making the lane work. As, oh my god, so much burn damage. Looking at top, just hurts.
Well, now Prada's getting turned on a little bit. Heals himself up with some stick charges. Michael, if he'd have kept going, I think he would have had the final right click, but it definitely would have cost him his own life, so... decides to play it safe, back off, but... ET, now we kind of see the strength of this lane, right? They've just got so much burn, so much damage to deploy, and Dot's got himself some arcane boots, so... I mean, his mana issues are really mostly solved here.
Yeah, no, it's the rush that we keep on seeing Dooms go for. It's a lot better than the all-out rush for Midas. Just feels solid. Maybe Dodd's missing a Wraith Band, you know, but it could be worse. And I guess not valuing the added armor that he would have, but with the Jakiro in lane as well, giving a lot more mana to Prada, just makes this lane even more annoying from Illich. Illich has already had to buy 2 salves at this point, just with how much Magic Cross is coming out. But he's doing a pretty good job for himself level-wise. 6 minutes, though. The battle, the rune, and Leo style gets first blood.
Gets first blood and the Invis rune, so... very impressive rotation there, and on the Thunder Awaken side, the supports had the right instincts, both making their way over ET. They're just a little bit slower than their counterparts.
Yep, just not in time, even though Lalatroni was poised to make a play there with the Ghost Ship, and we'll have to see how active Lalatroni decides to get. These Kunkkas like to wait for their full phase boots before they make those plays, but the sooner the better, honestly. And you're also going to see kind of a problem start here, as the longer he waits, closer Oscar gets to items like the Hood of Defiance. He gets a little bit too tanky, and then you really wonder how easy it is to gank these side lanes when you've just got 2 strength cores on either side. It's difficult. It's a tough Kunkka game to find those plays.
And, well, Lalatroni, that's a little bit of an awkward exchange. Tries to set his combo up onto Genic, but that means Leo Style was able to just kind of march right in onto him. Neither side can get the kill, though, and that Ghost Ship did just barely sort of get in there to disrupt that. Otherwise, I think Kunkka may have been taken down, but that's your Ghost Ship. It's not the longest cooldown in the world, ET, but it means that we're not going to see a rotation for the next minute. And, well, you were just sort of pointing out, with strength cores in the other 2 lanes, you got to be careful on your timing, and if that timing's delayed by a minute, it's going to be harder.
Yeah, all from a toss back from Michael, just good stuff. Just real solid, organic, just real solid plays there. And he gets the lane, gets the takeover for mid a little bit. We'll have to see. Not looking at the Blink Dagger just yet, but back mid, 8-minute rune time. And actually, they're trying to punish Lavatroni, but everybody's scouted out right now, so doesn't look like anybody's gonna fall to this.
Leo Style does steal the farm though, so it's a little bit more from his opponents. Found a pig pole too, why not? Pig pole, rune bottled. Illich though gets himself taken down in the top lane, and the reason why he's taken down is because he's alone in the lane, because Michael, well, he rotated over trying to find a little bit of extra experience, take over the middle lane while Lalatroni farms, but now he is in the line of fire. Leo Style though can't quite catch up to him, and at this point he's got to get out. Lalatroni's back. Knight has rotated in, so really needs to find some sort of escape here. Way too much time for another X to come into play, so should be fine, but things get very strange there for a moment.
Yeah, it is unfortunate that they have to rotate out Knight, and it is the only way they really get the kill onto the last track, but just not enough lockdown, just unable to make it happen with Excel going down. He really is the best lockdown on Thunder Awaken. Kind of unfortunate, but that's also where Illich finally hits his level 6. He got doomed last time around, it's what Dodd's gonna do, but seeing how this Pango gets back into the game, it should be kind of fun, as well as him being probably the best tool to actually take down the Leshrac when Knight has to go back to farming. And he does have to go back to farming. He ends up back bottom, is going for that Battle Fury build, but that's also where Oscar is not playing around. 4 points up in Timber Chain. He is not the tankiest fell in the world, but he will do damage. And right now, being patient, not necessarily wanting to go into the trade, trying to get as much damage as possible with those reactive armor stacks going down, but they also have to respect the Timber Saw. Oscar will kill you.
Can't afford to chase much further than what they just did there, so play it safe. Knight's got some more time to continue farming. The supports, though, pushing their way forward, trying to get eyes on Leo Style. Well, they see him, but not really sure they can do anything to him other than just forcing him away from his creeps. As Prada, well, bit of a different story there. Prada is a much easier target, although I say that. They haven't killed him yet. Split Earth is going to mess with the X timing. Didn't even really go for the boat because the torrent had already been used. And all of that really doesn't amount to too much. Lalatroni does get the regen rune, I guess, so you can consider that a win, but it really felt like they had Prada in their sights and would have killed him.
Yeah, kind of just gets to walk that one out, loses their ward now. A ward that was, only 2 minutes out, but yet again, Infinity kind of making the most of their map right now. The Kunkka is trying to get aggressive here, and with the Tome, Michael is level 6, so they love a play onto Dodd. He is still very vulnerable, is going for that BKB rush, but would love to get a pick onto the Doom. But Scan doesn't hit him. He's walking around. Daytime vision, though. But as soon as the smoke pops, there is a ward, but they're going right now, and they should have him.
Okay. Misses are going to come through. Ghost ship connects. Torrent is there. They do it cleanly. Took them a little extra time. Had to track him down in the jungle, but they get the kill, and can they get a little pressure maybe onto this tower as well? Creep wave's coming up. They've got the cart, so timings are really working out. The problem is they're behind the trade. Oscar's already taken care of the tier 1 on the other side.
Yep. And now he's looking to defend. Gets immediately in there. He's going to try to just kill the cart, and it will be a successful defense, as well as Illich on the run. And Oscar, I don't know. He's going to try for it. He's trying to force Illich to actually ulti, but has another swashbuckle. He's going to keep going. He has stacks of reactive. I know the tiny dice elsewhere, but poor Illich, man. And he will get the roll off, but now, is this a throw? Heroes are coming.
Yeah, Oscar may have gotten a little bit overly ambitious there. Good chain, but the X pulls him right back. And didn't have enough reactive armor to survive that one, so it's not a bad attempt. Yeah, if you can force out that ult, that's big, and I think Genic dying actually even lulled him into a false sense of security because he saw 2 or 3 heroes in that middle lane, but does not go the way he wants, and now we're going to look for another play. Genic TP's in. Takes a lot of damage, but gets off the Avatos combo. But the problem is, Prada's the only one here to help him, and Prada may not be enough. Yeah. Swashbuckle gets the kill. Illich finds another. And Leo Style Well, he's going to try to push in here. They drop the Doom onto that Kunkka as well, so... Everybody makes their way up top ET, but they do find their kill.
Yeah. And a very nice defense from Infinity. With the Timbersaw getting sidelined, that tower probably would have gone down if they just sat idly by. But they find their targets. The Doom gets to sneak up on the Kunkka. Ghost Ship comes through. Just really nice stuff. And now Illich has Rolling Thunder. So really, it starts off with Oscar overextending himself, but then Thunder Awaken make a play without any of their ultimates. So, mistakes made on both sides. But could be worse. Everybody's still farming, and nobody was able to, let's say, break away to the other side of the map and farm a whole bunch. Everybody was pretty much involved during that, except for, I guess, Knight. He got a little bit of time. He was always in a position to maybe make the rotation over, but the fight just died down too quickly.
Well, Thunder Awaken are going to go looking for something here. They smoke up. They're going to get onto Prada first. This isn't quite the hero that they want, though, but... that's exactly why Prada's standing right there. Able to give Leo Style enough time to slip away, and they do at least find a kill. They're going to get back onto that tier 1 tower top as well, so the objective will eventually be claimed, and Thunder Awaken will get some more gold into their pockets.
Yeah, very nice. Getting some time where they want to make a play as well. Michael's got the kisses back up again, but look at these stacks. Stacks for... I guess the Kunkka and the completed Battle Fury, but it's going to be kind of rough to take him. This is seeming more like a team effort.
Well, for now, they're looking more towards the middle lane than their own stacks. Lots of heroes kind of making their way mid. But there is that Battle Fury completed, so Knight is going to try and do it himself, and he does need to leverage the overpower here, but he is getting through it bit by bit. His teammates, though, they want the objective. They forced out a glyph already. A glyph that will not be refreshed if the tower goes down, as Kennick, well, he realized he was X, so he says, let's go in, let's get the Ava just to try and disrupt the timing, but with the kisses flying in, there really wasn't anything more he could do.
Yeah. Very nicely timed from Wild Trony as well, but okay. Here we go. Initiation. Only a few stacks on Oscar.
So Leo Style is going to TP in. Excel is channeling out the freezing field. Not a very long channel, as it's canceled almost immediately, but it did the job. Oscar went down, and Excel dying after the fact is really more than worthwhile.
Yeah, just get 2 successive kills, get to retreat. No continued push onto the tower, but, could be worse. And they are still getting aggressive. They're trying to punish Prada right now, and Illich, yeah, with the Diffusal Blade. Very obnoxious. There's still a sentry on the high ground, but could be worse. And Leo Style doesn't feel comfortable enough to walk up. And this is a little bit of a slower Bloodstone timing than Leo Style had last night. A good few minutes slower, actually. Just not in quite as free of a game. Definitely goes to show that Thunder Awaken definitely more fearsome opponents. Both teams kind of at their wits' end. Yeah, bottom. BKB walks away. Dodd gets his free play.
Just gonna TP himself home. Not a whole lot lost there, but if you're Thunder Awaken, honestly, I think you're still happy, right? That's the 9-second charge. Dealt with for the cost of, I guess, a Ghost Ship, but the cooldown's short enough where they're not going to be too broken up over using it.
No, definitely not. And the only reason he gets to survive is because he has this advantage, so might as well continue to make those plays. He really just needs to get to that Blink Dagger. Once he has Blink, he can really start to just play the game, as well as... I think Gannick just got his, so we could see a smoke from Infinity. They can actually make some initiations happen and then get this game kind of rolling. Because right now, they are just farming, and farming is not bad, but farming versus a Battle Fury carrier, Knight's kind of closing that distance. But yeah, great avatars, perfect reveal. Just simple as that.
Oh yeah, Gannick picked the perfect time. Blinks in, Avalanche is perfectly placed, and really just nothing that could be done there. Those two just get entirely ambushed as Knight. He's got a blink of his own here, but it's canceled. And now he's in some serious trouble. Is he going to be able to get away? He hops over the little cliff there, and he will live, but that would have been a lot worse if he didn't have the reactions. Balatroni, though. Well, you see the way he's angling off to the side. The problem is his backup just got ambushed. Excel dead immediately. Oscar was hit by the X, though, but there's going to be that Yule's play. Allows him to dodge. well, a lot of the damage, but not all of it. They just continue to collapse on top of him, and Lalatroni says, I don't have the X, but I can still free fire a torrent. But now this is a little bit too much. They are trying for a secondary engagement, and that was a very bad idea. Michael dead, Lalatroni goes down, and Illich is going to use the last few moments of his roll to get the hell out of dodge.
Yeah, Great Lane Ward just gets caught on the edge of the tree line, and even though they felt like they could make that fight, Knight had already retreated back to farming, and it's just the Rolling Thunder a little bit too late. But great vision, just hard punish there from Infinity. Even though Blink Dagger finished on Dodd, looking for some revenge here. Now, vision they don't have on the Ursa farming in the jungle right now, but they can kind of guess here. Unfortunately, this is just Excel, and they will take an Excel, but not exactly what they wanted with that smoke, but could be worse. Also think they steal a Grove Bow, I want to say. I think Knight just blinked out of the camp as soon as it dropped and then didn't get tracked around. Of course, none of Infinity really used Grove Bow is kind of the good news here, but lose it.
And no one on Infinity really uses it, and honestly, no one on Thunder Awaken's probably going to be too broken up over losing it either, because it's not great for too many of their heroes, but it's always nice when you can steal something from the other side, even if it's completely useless for you. That's probably not the best mentality to have, but it's Dota, so we're going to roll with it anyways. Lalatroni, don't want to roll with this. He is entirely surrounded. That ghost ship will do zero to... Oh, no. 0 to help. Doom applied onto the Ursa. Knight, I don't know what he was trying to do there. He has some damage, but not that much. But hey, he's still alive. The Doom has worn off. Meanwhile, Genic is stuck on the high ground. The Rolling Thunder from Illich is perfectly placed to catch out multiple heroes. And they're going to find 3, maybe 4. Can they lock Oscar down? Oh, they can root him up at least. They burn through the rest of his mana, so he can't leave. And okay. Lalatroni gets picked. Knight looked like he walked into a trap. Instead, they kind of counterbait there, and Infinity lose 4, and they took that fight with their Leshrac clear on the other side of the map.
Yeah, Wheelsound was just in no position to get to the rest of the team. Had a boots to travel, but the creep play was just too far away. And then Thunder Awaken win because of their vision. They get carried in that fight. It's just kind of an unfortunate Blink Dagger from Genic as well, just trapping him on the eye spot, but it just kind of sucks. And of course, Genic respawns, kills a CM, maybe see some more fluffy hats in queue for the Crystal Maiden so he doesn't die to that combo. But you get your first Ursa of the game, and you get a huge buffer now for Knight. First Aegis taken away from the Leshrac as well. This means he gets some time and a real easy walk up to that BKB that he's working on now.
Just the right sort of injection of money and momentum that Thunder Awaken were looking for. As well, if you're Infinity now, you don't slam down that panic button, right? Leo Styles still building. You've still got your Blink BKB on Dodd, so now is not the time for them to, I think, overcorrect. They just need maybe a little bit more discipline, a little bit better execution in the next fight, and they really could just get all of this back, and they could kill the Ursa twice as well. They are set up to do so in the right circumstances, so not really sure, ET, if we're going to see them take their foot off the gas any.
Yeah. And if we do end up in that farm fest, sure, you got to be scared of the Ursa, but you've got a Doom. You're gonna Devour, you got a Midas going, you're getting a lot of farms still, even though there is a kind of a lack of confidence, I think, from Infinity. They were feeling really hot, especially Genic. The Tiny was making plays, they're moving around the map, and that's kind of stopped. They've decided to split up a lot more. They're using a ton of the map, and of course, Leshrac, Timbersaw, Doom, everybody farms really quickly, but that separation that's causing opportunities for Thunder Awaken, who is looking for something a little bit more definitive. They love a pick going into an objective right now. And BKB on Lalatroni, so the Kunkka is not really afraid of anyone anymore. He's just going to sit on top of these heroes. And Dodd, well, that's BKB. He could just TP. He's trying to hold on to it.
I don't know.
Now he
about
can't
this.
TP.
He does get the blink off at least, so he's falling back successfully, but his teammates, this is not where you want to be. They were trying to get an ambush position. Instead, they're just going to run into the full brunt of Thunder Awaken's damage, and yeah, Genic, unfortunately, you were standing in the wrong spot there, but Genic dead instead of Dodd is still going to be considered some sort of win for Infinity, but Dodd really did have the utmost confidence that he was going to be able to get out under his own power.
Yeah, no, it's kind of a last second blink there as well because stays under the puddles for just a second, gets hit by a swash, and that's kind of just his death there. And at the end of the day, even though it's a little bit slower, Tiny's still dead. They make their way to the mid tier one, and there's no way Infinity can fight for it.
All right. Tier 1, go in the way of Thunder Awaken. They still haven't quite wiped out that deficit, ET, but it is shrinking pretty rapidly here. And, oh, Knight's got his BKB. The Basher's queued up next. The Strength is coming. We want to see, for Lalatroni, what's the call here? He's got his Blade Mail. He's got his BKB. The utility is looking solid and looking to stack up a little bit more of it with this shard. So this has always been the thing about the Kunkas we've seen in recent times, right? You don't really hit anyone all that hard, but hey, if you can keep yourself alive, if you can throw out ghost ships, throw out tidal waves, Ursa and Pangolier are going to do all the damage for you.
Yeah, and it's just another obnoxious, super low cost spell. Just feels very nice as the roll. They don't see it. He's smoked up, but he's going to change targets. And Prada, well, he's got a Force Staff, but that doesn't really matter too much. Knight doesn't pick up the kill. Neither does Illich. It's the Torrent from Lalatroni, but still, Infinity are on the run. They're not really able to fight their opponents right now. They're going to try to wait out this Aegis as much as they can. Only another 50 seconds on it, but still, they are the ones in the defensive posture. Wheelstyle's been farming this entire time, though. He's never been under fire by any of these rotations from Thunder Awaken, but it is getting a little bit concerning, especially because the next items queued up by the Pango and the Ursa are looking for those bashers. So your cheeky plays that you can BKB TP out of are going to start to cease.
Well, in the meantime, still hunting. Still trying to find some picks here, but, well, this is what, the third or fourth time I think we've seen them push out as a group, and the most they've really found is Genic once and Prado once, which, it's gold, right? I mean, the kills will get you something, but not enough to definitively turn those tides. And now Oscar, he's got his hands on the halberd here, ET, so you look at that Ursa. If he does get halberded in the middle of the fight, I don't know, answer some emails or something for a few seconds, because he doesn't actually get to contribute any damage.
And then Genic. Very nice.
Another pick, but again, it's just onto these supports, which is good to a certain point, but, well, a certain point is the operative phrase there, right? They really would love to get pressure in onto some of these other heroes, because Dodd, he's closing in on, what, this Octarine core upgrade, so more tankiness, lower cooldowns, Leo Styles got BKB, and the Blink Dagger pickup afterwards, so mobility, really, from all of the cores on the Infinity side is going to be up there.
Yeah. And Leosa's no longer really that easy target that you could punish. You've missed your window a little bit here with the Kunkka and the Pango. And we're only getting further away from that timing. Albert also picked up from Oscar, so getting some tools to deal with the Ursa. And with all this 5-manning around, Thunder Awaken are starting to sag behind, especially the support duo. It's where Infinity being more spread out. Sure, they're giving up a few deaths here or there, but they are just using more of the map. These clusters of Thunder Awakened heroes are forced into sharing, as they kind of have to, with the added benefit of them all being ready for a team fight to happen. But Infinity have waited patiently, and now they're looking for it actively. Octarine core done. BKB finished up on the left track. Oscar wanting some play as well, but look in the triangle. Michael getting the ward up. Lalatroni, they see everybody.
Michael is going to have to be sacrificed here, but the real target's off to the east. They found both of those major cores. The Doom applied to the Kunkka. Smiling Knight dropping low. He takes out Genic and now looks to just TP home. Okay. You get him out of trouble at least, and you did find a kill, but the loss of the Kunkka is going to be a tough one, and the kisses on Oscar are less than effective. As Infinity just kind of pull it back, they're going to regroup. This is the downside. They take that fight. It's a very nice one for them. They force out, I think, one buyback from Michael there. But they did use a lot for that.
Yeah, and fantastic ice path from Prada, and the toss into it just makes it look even better. Sick plays coming in from these players, but at the end of the day, it ends up not changing too much with Roche just not even being an objective. Because Infinity want to take that away from the Ursa. They want to give it to Leo style. They want to get onto especially that bottom tier 2. Because right now, they're just kind of buying time as, yeah, another fight, another ward placed on the high ground. Thunder Awaken are trying to box them out here. I'll see the Roche, and it's going to be a fairly early Roche. So they're going to try and maintain this control as long as they can. Also have to weed out this vision that Infinity placed in their own triangle. Otherwise, Infinity have a pretty nasty smoke.
Haven't been able to clear it out just yet. Michael... Well, it'll hit, but they need the vision now. Courier flies over, and... Okay. They take care of it. No longer have that vision just in their back pocket for the Infinity side, but they've got their heroes back up. They've got 8 seconds for Doom, so they gotta wait just a little bit here, but the BKBs are ready. Their abilities are back up. Can they find a pick here? If they could catch one of these heroes, Knight in particular, maybe just a step too far forward, drop the Doom on top of him, that could really get them going in terms of a solid fight. Dodd, though, is going to pop. Nobody really reacted to that. They all just kind of walked away, but Thunder Awaken on their opponent's side of the map, realizing they have to be the team that's maybe slightly more disciplined.
Yeah. And with Roche respawning, Knight just going to be patient. They're still looking for a pick that would make this a little bit easier, but they also have to be careful. They're tiptoeing around this vision towards top. If they get too far away from their own high ground ward, then they give Infinity a pretty darn good opportunity. As well as kind of checking out those buyback statuses, seeing who can afford to die here to contest this next Roche. And Prada, well, looking for the D ward, but his teammates going in now.
There's the Doom, deploying it on to the Ursa. They're going to try and kill him off quickly, and they should have it. Illich, he's trying to run interference, doing an admirable job, but it's not enough. But Knight, he's able to buy back. How many heroes do they lose in the meantime, though? Michael goes down. And Leo Style... Oh, Leo Style's actually getting hit himself. He needs backup. His BKB had already been used, and they don't have it. They're going to lose him, but they're trying to rally on the high ground. Tidal Wave, though, forcing them out of position while Thunder Awaken just march their way in. Genic will fall. Prada off to the side, caught out and finished off. And ET, I don't think Infinity were ready for that immediate buyback. They thought once they had taken out Knight that they were kind of good to slow roll the rest of the engagement.
Yeah, but that's what he was playing around. He knew that that was kind of the stakes here, and it's a tempo buyback. It gets him the Roche, it gets him the Ag Shard, it gets him the objective they were all going to have to play around, and all it cost him was his life. He ate the Doom. He died so quickly, and then it was enough. Dieback on the Jakiro as well. They popped all of their BKBs to jump him too, because they were afraid of getting hit up by the Ghost Ship and the Kunkka spells, but it just ends up going in Thunder Awaken's favor. Just a very nice play.
Impressive stuff, and for Knight, I mean, you know, you don't often see too many carries who are willing to make that sacrificial play, to say, I'm gonna go in. If I die, I'll just buy back immediately, and we'll rally around that as Illich. Okay. Not really sure he was going to commit for a full fight there, but if you're Genic, you take 0 chances. Tosses his teammate away, and yeah, you can't really blame him for being cautious there.
Yeah, gets his butt out. All that matters. Even though Infinity are in an awkward spot again here. Looks like they're going to try to adopt that split up everybody farm style, which will continue to get them a little bit of an edge here gold-wise, but Thunder Awaken are the ones that are feeling like they want to still maintain this 5-man. They want to smoke and look for plays. They don't have a smoke on any of their heroes just yet, but they would like to get something. Kill more of these heroes. Get onto these tier 2s. Thunder Awaken's lineup, sadly, does not push very fast. It's one of the problems with the Ursa carry, and Illich not being on a pushing offlaner either is a little bit problematic, but just means that they're going to have to try and build themselves up to be even better killers in the meantime. That's a full Abyssal Blade there on Knight, so whoever he starts on, he is going to take out.
A little bit of a disappointing play there in the meantime. There was a DD rune in the river, and Oscar makes the wise decision to just pick it up so that the Ursa or the Kunkka or even Illich wasn't going to be able to grab it, but that also means you've got a DD Timber who does basically nothing, but even the most useless double damage rune on your side is better than letting anyone from Thunder Awaken have it.
Yeah, this game is really slowing down, though. Macro Pyre out the mid wave, keep the side lanes pushed in. Infinity have the tools to delay. Just results in a slightly more boring game for us. Even though that is a full Ags now picked up on Lalatroni as well. They still just want one of those big old nasty team fights, but Infinity are doing a good job. Half the age is already gone.
Yeah. But I mean, a level of disruption for Lalatroni here. If you don't have a BKB, he's got X, he's got Ghost Ship, he's got Torrent Storm, he's got Tidal Wave. You're going to end up in a different zip code than where you started if you don't have any magic immunity. And that's going to be unbelievably important. So many of the Infinity heroes are, by design, dependent on their own positioning, right? The Lesh and the Timber in particular. If you force them to be standing somewhere else, then they don't really do the damage that they're going to need to do.
Yeah, and, well, finally, find their way onto the first tier 2 of the game. Outpost immediately claimed. Infinity gets some counter pressure, though, with the Edict on the tower, but also placing more vision in the lane, looking for heroes as Knight trying to track down anybody in Prada, going for the TP, and Knight could go for the Earthshock, but probably going to have to give up on that play as well. But Thunder Awaken are tightening the grip a little bit. They're getting faster onto these objectives. They'd love to kill Dodd right now, and they're going to try to with the rest of the lineup, but forcing the BKB is also just as good, but
Whoa,
Dodd's in.
That's very aggressive. He drops the Doom down. I mean, okay, you know, maybe he didn't know that the Kunkka had 3 or 4 heroes behind him, but he sure as hell knew that Dodd himself had no backup. That is an unbelievably risky play to make, and he's not the one to suffer the consequences, ET. It's his teammate who gets taken down, but oh, Prada dies and Doom's on cooldown for a minute. I'm just not sure what the plan was there.
Yeah, and Genic, hero plays, dragging the creep wave all the way that keeps the aggro somehow, which is kind of crazy, but defends his tier 2 tower for just a little bit longer. But look at this. Excel, yeah, they found him. See him on a warding mission, scouted out, tracked out by the vision already placed by Infinity, and dies so far away from that ward, but just trying to do his job.
That is the good news. He's far enough away where they didn't really suspect where the ward had been placed, or maybe even that it's there, so got a little bit of vision in case somebody's going to try to push that lane out, going to try to farm the jungle, but, well, vision that DPT is kind of awkward, because no one on Thunder Awaken's in a position now to actually take advantage of it. They'd have to cross the entirety of the map to really gank anyone that gets spotted by that ward, but if you're Excel, why not? You got it down. He's already back up in a few seconds anyway, so it's certainly going to be useful. But now, Infinity are on the hunt. 4-man smoke making their way top. Both the Kunkka and the Ursa in the lane. Ursa's already backing off, though, but Lalatroni would be a big kill if they could find it. But the Kunkka's spidey senses are tingling here. I think he really does suspect there's been too many heroes off the map for far too long, and he just bails out.
Yeah, and look at this. Leo style, full Hex coming on his courier now, so he can start his own engagements and keep a hero stunned up for 6 seconds, as well as Boots of Travel 2 picked up on the Doom. So anybody that Leo style finds could also be a continued play there from Dodd. He is ready to close the gap, and he's going in. Oh, and what a reaction there from Lalatroni.
Lalatroni will live. They're going to turn this around, or at least attempt to with the kisses. It's hitting, and now there's Knight jumping in. Abyssal Blade Stun's going to be there. Is there any protection for Dodd? No, there is not. And I think Genic's going to end up dying here as well. Dodd, well, I don't know. Those plays were working for him in the past, so it's understandable that he's at least willing to try it again, but he can't do that by himself anymore. If he doesn't have backup, he's just too far forward, as Prada's going to get caught out as well, and Thunder Awaken swinging the momentum, swinging that net worth their way after trailing really for the entirety of the game to this point.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, I don't even know if they get this tier 2 tower. They're certainly going to try, but all their creep waves are cut. The lanes are still getting split, and Illich attempt solo kill here from Leo Style, but has the Ion Disc, so he will survive that situation. And now Leo Style, they're going for your BKB. They're trying to get it out of you.
But he
Already
can't
used TP.
TP. Yeah, this is rough. There's a bash coming in. Alatroni. Well, gets the torrent, gets the tidal wave. There's the abyssal stun, and Infinity at this point. ET, they're starting to fall apart. Just so many kills being given in situations where, well, maybe they weren't safe, but they had ways out. It's just not really coming together, and this team on the Thunder Awaken side may not be the most prolific tower takers, but give them a free path, they're going to go for it.
No.
Just purchased that Lincoln's as well. And it is time to go. If you're Infinity, we got to get the hell out of here. Has to be the call from them. As Oscar, that's a very nice blink. He's looking for the quick TP. Can they catch up to him in time? No, they can't. So there's your good news. Oscar gets away, Dodd gets out, but that's a Doom very much wasted on a Lincoln's. And Thunder Awaken, yeah, that's not going to work out for you. They checked the pit, but it's still a 2-minute timer.
Yeah, just unfortunate. It's like the worst timing in the world, the worst feeling in the world as well. Dodd just straight up didn't know about it, because how could he? He just bought it not even 5 seconds before. But it still kind of sucks. Good news is, though, with the Octarine and with the town at 20, you know, it's not like Doom is that long of a cooldown, but it still stings. Still kind of a spit in your face, but it's okay. Get to wait out now. The Last Shark respawning. Get to wait for their entire team to come up. But Infinity just needs to kind of cold here with some of their overextensions. And that's really all it has been. Just cores going a little bit too deep, a little bit too far. Because they die, the hero that tries to save them also dies. And it gives Thunder Awaken too many picks at this stage of the game. And we'll have to see how they decide to face this next Roche. But this next Roche is everything. Could flip the game on its head. Just need to see Infinity actually successfully initiate, and then the game can kind of get going here. Could come from just Leo style, Blink, Hex, follow-up Doom from Dodd. That could be it. That could be the beginning of the end here, but something just has to land. It's hard for them to execute, because the only other initiation on their team is just Genic Avatossing people, which, you know, is not bad, but it's kind of a solo play typically, so just hasn't come to fruition.
Just need to try and find something clean to get them into the fight instead of being forced to sort of react to Thunder Awaken's moves. So for now, we do have a bit of a pause coming out here. So give everybody a chance to cool down, to reset a little bit. We are 77 seconds away from the Roche respawn. And if you're Thunder Awaken, I mean, you're not giving up this position, right? In fact, take a look at who has some vision. It's the Crystal Maiden who's holding on to it. Would not be surprised if Excel just tries to control this high ground. They do have this ward a little bit further off, but if they get the eye spot, then they have full vision even around the outpost there. But ET, that's an outpost they control, so really Infinity don't have any ways to sneak over unless they're going to go for the full smoke.
Yeah, just a little bit too kind of shut out in the dark here. As well as very nice vision from Thunder Awaken. Freshly placed as well. They see a lot of the map, and still with this theme of control around the pit. I mean, hell, they still have that outpost. They've just been gaining so much XP, so much extra net worth, just been very obnoxious to deal with. As well as Lalatroni making his way towards that refresher, which is going to be a real pain once you have another Torrent Storm on top. If the first Torrent Storm, you have to BKB for it, well, the second one, you have to run away from it. Is on the sideline for a little bit because I think the recipe got killed on his courier, but he's just looking to buy out for it. And then that is going to be another problem Infinity have to deal with. Infinity just aren't creating too many opportunities for themselves. Maybe it'll be after Oscar gets either an Ags or a Hex, which he is still working on. We see that kind of stable initiation come out from them, but the more passive they play this game, it just doesn't get any better. They're trying here, though.
I do like this
just need to
play.
hit on the targets.
Dodd got himself an Aghanim Scepter, though, so if he self-dooms and blinks in, the Lincoln Sphere becomes a little bit less of an actual obstacle. Illich? Okay. Bit of an awkward situation there, but he's got the disc, he's got the roll. Does he have teammates, though? They're trying to get into position, but they do get ambushed on the other side. Oscar, though, loses so much of his HP right at the very start of the fight, so Dodd has to do the heavy lifting, but that AoE Doom is really locking him down. Michael is going to go down. Excel will fall as well, and Knight just going to have to regroup. They get back onto the high ground. Lalatroni was at least able to throw out enough lockdown for them to finish Oscar. But they want more. I mean, they bought back on their 2 supports. They are looking for something. Mortimer Kisses are flying overhead, but not really on target. Prada does walk away, does walk past this ward, though, so if they want to try again, they have an opening, but Genic does get off the toss, does get off the avalanche. That's going to reset the fight. Now Knight's in trouble. He got hexed up. Can they finish him off in time? He is dropping very low, but the Cookie's able to get him over the cliff. They don't want to let him go, though. Dual Scepter going to lock him down. Ice Path thrown under his feet, but they need the damage. Who's going to be able to hit him up? It's going to be Genic who comes in with the toss play. And now the fight for Thunder Awaken is going to fall apart. Lalatroni isolated, finished off. Michael just bought back. Really would rather not go down a second time. But he doesn't get much of a say in the matter.
There you go. The Hex is all Leo style as well. Just him in this fight, but with the Spell Prism, a little bit of CDR to play around with, it just works. And Thunder Awaken on that second round, they have this great ward behind Infinity's entire lineup. It doesn't get dewarded. They think they're being smart about it, but then they rush their play. They go up, they face right into Infinity's high ground vision, and then they kind of throw away the game, or at least this portion of the game away. It's not like Infinity can immediately turn for racks, but another Aegis given over. This is Refresher as well, so something Dodd is probably almost certainly going to look to play around. But Leo Style now has that buffer, and you've robbed the Ursa of a lot of initiative in these team fights. And that was a pretty wasted Doom as well that started off that entire engagement. Dodd was being obnoxious, but it wasn't really working for the longest time. But then that second bout, it just goes sour so quickly.
Yeah. His Doom takes out the supports, but as we mentioned, they both bought back, so at that point you're looking good. But I think really the major thing there, all the way back to the start of the fight on this west side high ground, Lalatroni uses a lot of his firepower to finish off Oscar in a scenario where the Ghost Ship, the Torrent Storm, the Tidal Wave, none of it really came into play against any other member of Infinity. So we talked about how important all of that lockdown would be. You could force out the BKBs, and then, you know, what do you do beyond that point? But that wasn't a factor. They were just able to ignore it because it had already been used on the Timbersaw.
Yeah, and now, well, he's not going to be able to buy this Refresher because he's scared about buyback because Infinity are closing in around the map, and a lot of those tools that they were working for are now getting completed. Now Oscar has his own cheap stick. Now he's going to be able to make even more plays happen. Also, Prada just had great ice pass the entire fight, the entire game. Illich needs to get on top of him some more, and here you go. Smoke, toss back, doesn't get it onto Michael. Okay. Genic a little bit lazy and some great kisses, but needs some follow-up from his team, but his team is getting pangoed right now.
Yeah. They got through the first life on the Aegis there, so well played by Thunder Awaken, but now they're going to back off. Oh, okay. You know what? I mean, they lose the tier 2 tower, right? There's no getting around that part, but the Aegis is gone, right? There's no 2 lives now on the Leshrac, so Thunder Awaken really make that play for about as low a cost as you could reasonably expect.
Yeah. No, it's good. Losing the Aegis on Leo style is a little bit random just because it happens kind of off screen because the rest of the lineup is hitting the tier 2, making the push without the Leshrac. So it's weird. And Leo style loses some of that agency that just, you know, talked about the Aegis giving it to him, but they're just looking to take this game just long, slow, burn it out. Map is just getting farmed. Every creep camp is just getting killed off, as it probably should at this point, but still, it's funny to see. And once we get into that ultra late game phase, honestly don't know who I favor, because of course, there's a lot of strength on Thunder Awaken that hasn't been picked up just yet. They're very obnoxious still. They just have these team fight factors that Infinity don't have, but Infinity have items. They're jacked. They're getting so many of these luxury pickups that at the end of the day, Thunder Awaken haven't really itemized to counter versus that. There aren't Lotus Orbs. Of course, there are Force Staffs, but there's no way to really deal with the hexes. It was just happy, and this Aeon Disc is really going to be the big purchase, I think, for a lot of these heroes, just because there's no way Infinity buy a Nullifier, but it's still kind of difficult. And look at this.
Dodd
Smoke
wants
on
in.
jump.
Self-Dooms looking for a target. They are getting in onto a couple here, but they need to focus their damage. Everyone's dropping low, but no one's actually died yet. But they are going to try and get in onto the Ursa. They've hit him up with the Hex. Can they actually finish him off in time, though? The Hex does wear off, so Knight turns around, starts shifting out the damage. Oscar's going to go down. Genic falls as well. Genic buys back, but he's not going to be able to rejoin his teammates because they're all dead. Infinity, I mean, they tried to hit 4 guys at once, and look at all the low HP bars, ET, but nobody actually died.
Yeah, and it's a second, and Genic, well, let's see if he dies. Like, he's gonna get the blink off, but, oh, Illich.
That is,
he needs a friend, but...
That is impressive stuff, but yeah, he doesn't have the damage for this by himself, but here comes Knight. Makes his way over. Genic's really making him work for it, though. Jesus. Waking himself into the river? No TP for 40, but I think at this point they're just going to give up on the chase because they realize we can go high ground. Let's stop chasing a Tiny for no reason.
Yeah, but back to the fight. The Doom just tries to do too much. He lets Lalatroni out of his Doom radius. He gets the BKB off, and then the first storm comes. Then they get to wait out. Knight doesn't have BKB. It looks like the Ursa's going to die, but he's enraging through everything. And then the second Torrent Storm comes through, and then that's the end of the fight. They were just inundated. They were stuck in the air. They got waterworks, and that's not even with the Timeless Relic. Just not lucky there on the items, but it doesn't matter. It's enough. And the Rum buff also coming into play in that fight just took so long for any of that damage to actually bleed through. And now, I don't know if they can get the full lane. It kind of feels like they can, though, and you're in that awkward situation where you don't want to buy back. It's 20 seconds, and Thunder Awaken decide not to even chance it. They get the range track first, so they get at least something here, and they will be able to bow out.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is not in the execution itself. I mean, the jump from Dodd was incredible. It's just, boys, pick a target. Pick someone to actually kill first and then move on to the next. So maybe that's your silver lining. You lost a hell of a lot in that engagement, right? But if you can find a similar jump, but you decide we are going to kill Lalatroni first, we are going to go for Knight no matter what, that fight can still be very much won by Infinity.
Yeah, they've got the tools. It's just keeping that continued pressure on said hero, as well as I think it's time for Dodd to probably look for a refresher. He's got a Wind Waker queued up, which is wild because it's a very expensive item that he has not even started. But if he is going in that direction, I mean, we're not even thinking about buybacks right now. It's where Thunder Awaken just feel like they're taking this game maybe a little bit more seriously. And well, Lincoln Sphere picked up on the last track, making that initial jump a little bit more difficult, but Refresher is back up, and they're pinging heroes. Sadly, that is just an illusion, but rest of the lineup stays smoked. I don't know if they want to play, though, with Rolling Thunder on cooldown. Seems a little bit of a risk.
Yeah. Well, he did take the talent at 25, so it's not a long cooldown, but it is not available, and it wouldn't be available if you pushed right now, so don't have to wait too long, but might have to re-up this smoke, because it is about to dissipate in 2 seconds, so do they have another? Michael does not. Excel doesn't either, so they might just have to kind of freehand this one. Does someone from Infinity come far enough forward to actually get caught? As of right now, not really. They're playing it safe.
No, they definitely are. Biding their time. Lalatroni getting some lanes in, using the X marks to get around the map a little bit quicker, but feels like we are going to get towards those late game stages. And Infinity, they're in the super lane, they're waiting, and another Rolling Thunder kind of pestering here as Leo Style gets initiated on, but there's Genic.
Ooh. Good defensive play there. Illich, don't go too far. Dodd, though, actually made the jump in, and they are focusing Lalatroni this time. They've got him doomed. They've got him hexed. Do they have him dead? Yes, they do. That's what they needed, but Lalatroni immediately buying back. Illich getting onto the backline, looking to do some damage. Didn't kill off Prada just yet, though. And now, well, the tables are actually going to turn. Dodd, he did not back off when his teammates did. He's kind of stuck in the middle of the river, so he goes down with no buyback available, ET, and, well, said they needed to focus down one target. They did that, but then they forgot about the part where they also need to leave afterwards.
A little bit risky there from Trony, because of course now the Kunkin doesn't have his buyout, but force the immediate retreat from his opponents. And if you can get that top melee racks, then that's probably a trade that's worthwhile. But in that fight, Dodd did exactly what he needed to do. He kept on Trony until the end. Didn't let the Kunkin BKB, didn't give him that flash where he's able to actually get any spells off. It was just the perfect counter. Gonna be a little bit harder next time around, though, because Trony now has that Aeon Disc that is so valuable in this game, but still, it's something. And they are pigging. They want to get this top racks. They want to force the buyback. Leostyle's going to make it really annoying, but they should still attempt it at the very least. Might even look for the picks instead, but Knight finds his way in, navigates around the split earths, and that is your building.
Racks will go down. They spit a creep towards the tier 4s, just in case, but Infinity not willing to push in without their Doom. So they're down to one lane of racks. That final lane, though, ET is protected by a tier 2 that is remarkably still standing, but not a lot of attention had been paid to the bottom lane after the first 10 to 15 minutes, as Excel just finished off a full Wind Waker. So well, the Crystal Maiden has been getting picked off pretty consistently in these fights. 10 deaths, kind of evidence of that, but Wind Waker could change that. Although at this point, the Wind Waker may not be for her, more for teammates at whatever fight breaks out, but never mind. Well, Excel uses it on himself, but Leostyle was taken down on the backline. They're able to snipe out that Leshrac with no buyback, and Infinity just unfortunately kind of do it to themselves again.
No, they strike with Dodd on the other kind of side of the map in an area they can't really get to. He tried to fight, but had to disengage very early on. And, well, Leostyle is now the one without buyback. He bought the Ag Synth, which puts him out of range. And sure, 70 seconds doesn't feel that long. It's not like he die-backed, but just means that now you should be able to translate immediately into this tier 2 bottom. There's a creep wave coming in. There's no shenanigans that Infinity can pull here. They're kind of stuck to their guns right now.
Well, Oscar is going to do what he can, but this will not be enough to actually save this tier 2, not by a long shot. They can't pop the glyph because they're not going to get it back. And now it's down to a high ground defense, but a high ground defense where the Lesh is still gone for 35, so I mean, it could be Megas. They are going to try for a tossback play. That's a good initiation from Genic onto Illich, but yeah, that Aeon Disc playing a pretty big role here. Dodd did try to jump in, but with his Doom still down for 5, didn't actually have a play to make. Illich just kind of having some fun here. Does need to pull back eventually. He will do exactly that, but Genic goes in. Avalanche connects. There's going to be the AoE Doom. They've caught out 2. Can they bring both of them down? They're going to try for Lavatroni first. They do get him, and they burn the Aegis. But now Dodd, what's the play? Doom's still up for a few more seconds, so the Ursa's not 100% safe, and they're looking to jump in onto him. But there's the Force Staff, there's the Cookie, there's the Freezing Field, trying to create some sort of distraction, ET, and it is working for now. But at what cost? The rest of the lineup is getting beat up. Michael's going to get taken down off to the southeast. They track Excel, they finish him too, and Knight is still in trouble. BKB down for 4 seconds. He has to live on the Enrage, but he's not able to do so. The Hex is onto him. He does get the BKB now, but he can't just TP away. He's got to try and stand and fight, but it's a fight he can't win.
Oh no. They're gonna start pushing it down. There are buybacks available, buybacks on everybody but Lalatroni, but the Kunkka just got caught 15 seconds on his Aeon Disc, just on the high ground. Thought he was safe with Illich in front, but they lose track of that Doom for just a second, and then Dodd goes in. And he didn't have to commit his second round either. He's gonna have Refresher in BKB and another Doom. That was Dodd at half power, and he made that team fight work. This is a problem. And Lesh, well, he's already here, is, you know, running against Backdoor right now. But you don't want to get 4 buybacks forced out of you. This is just a miserable position to be in. And if you die, I mean, Dodd will kill himself to kill you. And Dodd will get buyback after this next few objectives get knocked down. And this is a real bad spot to be in, Thunder Awaken. What have you done?
Yeah, they have really just breathed life back into their opponents. As Illich, he's going to do his best to run interference here. Still only like a 20-second cooldown or so on the Rolling Thunder, so This is a doable play, but he needs to make sure he doesn't get hexed afterwards. He's trying to fall back. Genic, though, able to hit him up, but there's that Wind Waker coming in. Dodd. Okay, well, that's what the refresher is for. Pops the first Doom to very little effect, but they've got another. But they're still pushing onto the racks. Able to clear out the melee. Leo style, though. Gotta watch that HP. He's able to fall back. They're gonna get everybody out of there, but if you're Thunder Awaken, the damage is not that significant. Yeah, okay, you lose your tier 3, you're going to lose the full lane of middle racks, but buybacks weren't used. Prada's going to get picked off there. He does have buyback on the Infinity side, but Illich is looking for a little bit more, trying to get onto Genic. Genic has been notoriously hard to kill in this game, though, but I think this time they've got him.
Yeah, and well, supports, they've got buyback, but yeah, just weren't as decisive, just didn't push down that mid lane fast enough, didn't get the creeps onto those Radiant buildings to knock out that backdoor, and Illich is just still obnoxious. He's getting off 2 to 3 Rolling Thunders each team fight. He's just able to wait out a lot of these super long engagements, and Dodd kind of messed up his jump, just went a little bit too far, was unable to connect, was trying to force, but ended up missing real hard. And we'll have to see how Thunder Awaken want to abuse this now. And Infinity are trying to save Genic's buyback, but almost feel as if now Thunder Awaken might want to just wait for Aegis, might want to wait for Roche. Also, 60-minute items coming up. And I don't even want to think about the chaos that those items could bring into this game. There are just so many that just change the state of everything. Mirror shields with how many hexes there are. Giant's rings with how much more damage the Doom could do running around. Same with the Kunkka. It's just going to get wilder from here. It's also a position where I don't think Thunder Awaken are confident enough to just go for another Rax. They don't want to get near Infinity's high ground unless it's a team fight that they're instigating. So we might get stalled out for 60 minutes.
That's always the beauty of those tier 5 items. They are so unbelievably powerful, but they're powerful for both sides, right? So if you're Thunder Awaken, there's a part of you that says, listen, we got to try and push in now. We got to end this game before 60 because who knows what Infinity could find. But then you come to the point you were talking about, ET. If we push high ground and we lose the fight trying to end the game before 60 minutes, then we'll lose. And we tried to avoid one risk by taking another bigger one that doesn't pay off. So kind of frozen at the moment. Really don't seem to have an alternative.
We're waiting. We're seeing the items. There are so many Wind Wakers in this game. It is crazy. There are so many heroes just building it. And at least for Thunder Awaken, they're the one team that's allowed to have a nullifier. So they can at least deal with some of these Yule Scepters, some of these Aeon Discs. It's still a factor that Infinity can't deal with. It is always going to be kind of gnawing at them. Especially because they're getting refreshers too. While Trony's still being obnoxious. I'm surprised Illich isn't looking at a refresher, even though all of his abilities are so low cooldown, just literally getting 2 Rolling Thunders off in a fight. He'll be rolling around for 26 seconds of a team fight. I mean, it's just insane. Illich is also bottled up, like 8k gold, Why not at this stage of the game? But we are getting to those absurd realms, and 50 seconds out, you would want to bottle Infinity up a little bit better here from Thunder Awaken. Of course, Thunder Awaken do not want to let Infinity farm up these tier 5 items. It's where Infinity want to lodge a hero probably on the Radiant side of the map, so that way they can actually get these buildings going. But look at this. Roll. Pester in the high ground.
Oh, they get onto Dodd. Can they kill him in time? Yes, they can. That's going to force his buyback. Or is it? Dodd's not buying back yet. Recognizing they went in for that, but they can't stick around for a second attempt. But ET, now with an 80-second window, Thunder Awaken have got to try and push in, right? There's no way they just actually allow the Doom to respawn naturally.
He's keeping his enemies close, though. If they get the buyback, they simply retreat, farm the tier 5s, and they're happy as Genic. Ooh! Almost gets pulled to the low ground, but here we go.
Got the toss back. Trony pops his BKB. There's the buyback, though. Dodd wants in. He's going to TP his way forward. The Doom preemptively applied, but Illich is already out. Dodd, what can he do? Does he have his blink? He did, but he was already too far away, so a buyback used. one of the two Dooms being deployed. And Thunder Awaken, they at least got the tier 3. Didn't get onto the racks, but chipping away at those defenses bit by bit. But now here comes Infinity. Do they look for the full-on fight? Well, they look for Excel. Gonna be a relatively easy kill if they can find it. But Excel, he's actually not going down that quickly. He's not going down at all. Wind Waker's himself away, and this is spreading out a little bit too far. Again, it goes down. Excel will fall as well. The ladder, though, does have his buyback, so the Crystal Maiden is going to rejoin the fight. But at this point, is there a fight to rejoin? Oscar does get stunned up by the spit-out play, but he's trying to make his way out of here. Tidal Wave is actually not really going to do much. He still Timber Chains out. Now after Thunder Awakened, you got to make sure you're not going too far forward. Illich is in a little bit of danger. He's going to be able to roll up, though, but there's going to be the Doom applied to him. Slowed down as well by the Shiva's Guard. Dodd in with the full damage, looking to take him down, but that Wind Waker is buying a hell of a lot of time. Will it be enough, though? No, it will not. Illich still goes down. Buys back immediately. Torrent Storm into the engagement as well, and Dodd does go down. He dies back, ET. And now, Infinity, I don't know what they have left. Leo Styles trying his best to fight. The Doom isn't there to help him, though. And without the backup, they just can't do it. That Doom gets a little too far forward, trying to take advantage of what they thought was an overextension for their opponents. Instead, they get baited in, and see, I think that's it. There's a buyback from Leo Style, so he's in, but it's him and Timber against the world.
Yeah, and Gannick, he had buyback, but he bought out a nullifier because he knows that his team needs it for the actual fight, and it just doesn't work out for you. In Thunder Awaken, they have so many different options here. The simple one is to just get the Megas, then get the Roche, but they're going to press for this. They're going to look for the win right now. They've got the advantage. Seer Stones dropped on both sides. Nobody getting a definitive tier 5, and I don't know if we're going to see that farm come through, but it doesn't necessarily matter here. It's a 3v5. It's an advantage. They need to somehow kill the Ursa and then force him to be on dieback, and then they have time to wait this one out. But unless they mess up that jump, and here we go. First jump.
Leo Style's going to give it a go, trying to take down Excel. They do find the kill. Meanwhile, Knight hit by the disarm. Doesn't last all that long, though, and now with the BKB wearing off, they're going to try and get onto Leo Style. Can they lock him down? Not just yet. Wind Waker buying him some time, but he's losing all of his health ET, and it's over. Leo Style gets taken down. Oscar will fall too. GG called. And Thunder Awaken will be your #1 seed here. It took them a hell of a long time, but they get it done.
Oh, and we don't even get the tier 5 items. It's okay. It's okay. But what a wild game. Really just kind of broken on the back of Dodd and what he could find with his Dooms. But you can't even put all too much pressure on him because there are so many Force Thefts. There are so many Stormcrafters. There's so many Dispels, Aeon Discs, Cyclones, Blinks. It's just too much. It's where Dota gets so complicated, and Infinity, despite it all, just can't execute outside of the base. And I think that was Infinity's big mistake there at the end. It's real easy when your opponents are running at you in a straight line, getting a single objective that you're trying to defend. It's way harder when it's on the high ground, when it's away from any other objectives, when you're on your own. It's just too difficult. And I think that's where Infinity just brought it too far away from the base, and Thunder Awaken just pressed for it, and they got it.
And the #1 thing, I mean, I will admit the last like 3 team fights in that game were kind of a blur because so much was happening. But the one thing I kept noticing, Excel either doesn't die or dies but takes like 10 seconds to actually go down, right? The Wind Waker, the Force Staff, the Glimmer, absorbing so much attention for what Infinity thought could be a get in, kill one, move on to the next. Instead, they linger for too long, and that's part of what you were saying. They're so far out of the base that lingering on one target for even 1 or 2 extra seconds gave Knight and Lalatroni the opening that they needed to turn the fights around.
Yeah. And then you run out of targets. You have to pop your BKB on Leo Style to kill a CM, and then the fight's just broken wide open. And then the Flash Strike gets turned on by 5 Infinity heroes. And it's a great try. It's a real nice attempt, but there's just not enough gas in the tank. And now, well, in typical long game fashion, and especially these best of 2s, game 1 was pretty long. We'll see how definitive game 2 is, because usually the second game in a series like this is very short and over very quickly.
And Thunder Awaken, as we said, they got what they wanted. With this win, they will be the #1 seed moving into Phase 3. So they've guaranteed themselves that they'll play someone from this pool of teams, as opposed to any of the directly invited squads for Phase 3. Meanwhile, for Infinity, still could be a difference here. If they can get a 1-1 split, I think they're still in contention for the number 2 seed instead of 3. So could be fighting for a rematch against Thunder Awaken in that next round. So we'll see what is in store here, ET, if it is going to be that immediate sort of quick rubber match as you mentioned, or if we get something sort of long and drawn out like this one. But either way, game 2 on the horizon. We'll be back in about 10 minutes here for the start of that next draft.